Day 19 of the renovation and quite a few cost updates in this video. So I'll go through what we've bought and in preparation for next week. Today is a day the builder wasn't actually here today, but he gives us easiest tasks to do. So we've tackled a few of those, starting with all this paintwork was basically peeling off. We removed the coving, and as that was removed, obviously you pull it away, the paint was just peeling away. So the mist coat, the first coat on the plaster, was not done correctly. And it's really easily peeling. You can kind of see up here. So some sheets were peeling off massive and a couple foot wide. So we've gone round and we've done everything. Over here is a bit of a different story because this used to be a door. So where they've made good the door, what they've done is they just plasterboarded across the whole lot. So this paint is actually a bit different. So that's been left for now. This one was the same. This damage here was from water from a broken drain pipe outside. So that will all be fixed and done. It's not actually too bad. We've opened it up obviously so it can dry out. So that's where we're at with the paintwork in here. So it's kind of getting stripped back more and more. Hopefully next week things start going back together. It's kind of like taken away, but hopefully soon things start going back in and things will be made good. Obviously the wall's down. It's worth another look because it's very satisfying indeed. Also, I chiseled back the chimney. So essentially, if you think this chimney, we've got wall, chimney, and this is all gonna be made good properly. I think it's rendered or filled in the room next door. Actually, it's a good example or a good thing to show you. So with this wall, what they've done is to save themselves the hassle, they just plasterboarded this whole wall. So what that means is we've lost space in here, if that makes sense. So this plasterboard comes further out than the actual wall. It's just so they didn't have the hassle and they made good. I mean, it looks good and it's done well, but basically in here, what we said is, we'll make it good and then do what needs to be done. The plasterer can suggest and do what he needs to. So this will all be filled, made good, and then it will be all made good by the plasterer after that, essentially. So that's what we're going to do. But to do that, obviously the brickwork has to be further back than the actual original walls. So you can see at points it did bow out. So what we basically have is some bricks. Obviously when they've done the chimney, it doesn't matter to them. Like here, for example, these bricks were too far forward. They were protruding out from the actual wall, if that makes sense. So you can see there's some edges here, but what I've done is I've gone through with a hammer chisel, and I've gone through and chiseled any big bits back. We also have all this soot, which a lot of it was taken back up there. Now, doesn't seem like too big a job, but it took some doing. And I've done, as with all these tasks, I do the obvious things. If more needs doing, it's more intricate, then I'm more than happy for the builder to finish it off. Obviously, I'm not looking for something pristine. I'm just looking to save them hours of time if I can. Same with, stripping the paintwork off and doing these sort of bits and bobs. So weekend task was that, Friday task, and there we are. So that is quite an interesting one, but we wanted to do all that and make it good that way so we don't lose space with plasterboard and boarding over. Same like they've done there. This has been boarded forward, so this space is lost. They've done it on the kitchen wall as well. So it had plasterboard, tile, then there was plasterboard again and tile. Seems like people don't seem to mind losing, 2 centimetres across a whole wall like that, but keep doing that, it's going to add up. So costs, I mentioned cost. Oh, actually, before I do that, the inspector came out. So the inspector is from the council. So we paid £380 the other day. Well, it was a couple of weeks back now for the inspector from the council. And they basically come out and check the beams. All they want to see is the beams. Check they are on the bearing plates, which they are. Check they're on engineering bricks. Check they are against the spec that was given to us by our structural engineer. So we have this beam, which he was more than happy with, fairly small beam. And let's go upstairs as well. And I'll show you the secondary beam, which we had to put in to take the chimney out, which he was also happy with. So if we look here, secondary beam, again, so we've got, this is much bigger, this beam, it was much heavier, longer span, 4.25 meters. And that's on the bearing plates as well. So new joist has gone in there. So the inspector was happy with everything, which is very good. They came in, had a look round, basically just checked the spec. I'm guessing this is bread and butter for them. They're dealing with some big structural changes, you know, whole house is getting completely redone. So yeah, all good. There was a couple of things he asked us to do. We'll get to that in a sec, which is, let me look at my list so I don't miss anything, got all my notes. So yeah, boxing in with fireboard is what the inspector wanted us to do. And fireboard is 17 odd pounds a sheet, I believe. The total was 36 quid for 2 sheets of fireboard. So this all needs to be boxed in. So you don't use just normal plasterboard, you use fireboard. Then once that's all boxed in, he said we can just send a picture and then they will sign off the work. We'll get our little green tick and everyone will be happy. And we're £380 lighter. But that's what you need to go through to do any structural changes. You cannot do these changes. Well, you can, but if you want to sell your house at all, or in the future anyone asks any questions, if it wasn't signed off and done and you've boxed it all in and made it good, they can ask you to open it all up so they can see. So that was that. Now we also made some other purchases because it's Friday, so this is in preparation for next week. So on Monday we got some deliveries. Now what we have is 10 sheets of soundproof plasterboard. If I shut this door. Now if you've kept up with the other videos, you'll know that there is a small WC going down here. I say small, it's 1.8 meters deep. So we've got, it's going to come along here, go across to the wall there. You can see 1.8. So we've got 10 sheets of plasterboard because we need to board the outside and inside of the WC. We've got upstairs, we're going to need plasterboard as well. Also for this WC, I'm not sure if I spoke about it before, but it's in the middle of the house, so there's no way to have an extractor fan going to the outside. This is another house this side. That's obviously inside the house there. So what we're going to do is, against this boxing in of the steel, we're going to do another box, maybe in line, and that's going to run an extractor fan down here and it's going to go out there. We ummed and ahed quite a bit about doing the extractor fan, but when you think about it, you're going to have a WC here and you've got the kitchen right there and you've got the lounge right here. So it's best to have an extractor fan, like, for obvious reasons, right? So yeah, we'll wire that all in, so if the light's on, that will basically automatically extract. So the plasterboard, the soundproof plasterboard as well, obviously, because it's a toilet. They had an offer on the soundproof, so we got soundproof upstairs as well where we need it. That came to £144 for 10 sheets, which you can get it cheaper, obviously, if you get standard plasterboard. But again, this is a toilet right next to the dining room and the kitchen. So that's where we're at for that. Now, to do all the stud work as well, actually, before I talk about the stud work, let's talk about this gap here. So currently we have a little climbing wall, a way to get up to the first floor. Now to make this good, we need some more 8x2. So you can see this 8x2 here. So we bought one length of 3.6 8x2, which I checked my notes was where is it? £19.40 for a 3.6 meter length. All the wood I've bought is treated. I read online, you know, it's not too much difference in cost, and if there's potential water could get to it, then get treated. So I have. So that's what we'll have. We're going to cut one, I think, is going against a wall, and then we'll basically build a square box, I believe. To go with that, we've also got joist hangers. So we needed joist hangers for the 8x2. We needed 6 of those, and that was £7 for the joist hangers. But that will make good the floor. Obviously, we need a plasterboard here as well, so that will be used. Some of that, you know, one of those 10 sheets, we'll use that there. And above is, you can see a good view here. Obviously, against that beam will be the fireboard that I mentioned previously. So that will be all boxed in up there, and that beam with fireboard. So that was another cost. Then we needed actual wood, so to build the framework here. So we bought 20 lengths of 3x2 at 2.4 meters, and that cost £112. We went with 3x2 just to have a slightly slimmer wall, because obviously the thicker the wall, the more of the dining room we take, and the bathroom, depending on where we put the wall. So we've got 20 lengths as well coming. We need various, I mean, the builder is planning ahead as well. So those 20 lengths probably going to do some bits and bobs upstairs and other stuff, I think. But yeah, that was a cost there. We also need screws as well. So we bought 100mm wood screws, £9. We bought a plasterboard screws as well. We've got 1,000 of those. So I'm guessing we're just going to need various throughout the project, throughout the days. So we have bought 1,000 of those a pack. And when I buy all this stuff, I mean, another little thing that's just kind of happened, what we do is we have the space for all the materials and the tools. So this is like screws and other little bits, miscellaneous things that are left over, because you end up with loads of them, and with no one place to put them, you spend more time looking for things than you do actually blooming doing the work. So all the tools go in here. So and supplies, materials, spares, etc. So it's very handy indeed. So that's where we're at with that. So hopefully next week I'll open this door and we'll be walking into a little toilet. You can see we've got the waste pipe already and the pipes for the sink. We've got a semi-pedestal sink going here. We had to work out all the depths and measurements so the door didn't clip the sink. All of that good stuff was very interesting. What other costs did we have? So it's worth talking about electrics for a sec, because I bought a 100-metre roll of 1.5mm twin and earth, and that was £45. The reason why I got that is because lighting is changing everywhere. So in the toilet, we're going to have spotlights, maybe one or two. Here, we're going to go for it's like a bar light, a 6-bar light. Or a 5-bar, so there'll be one here and one here with spotlights on, so you can angle them where we like, one to what will be the breakfast bar, sink, etc., and we'll do the same the other side. So that will give us our lights here. We also can't go above here very well because there's a tiled bathroom there, so we can't go with the spotlights. In here we've got access above, spotlights will be going in, there'll be 4 or 6 here. In the hallway we'll probably put spotlights as well. In the lounge, spotlights as well. I'm quite a big fan of spotlights to actually see what's going on, and then we have like a subtle lighting, floor lamps and other lamps that are on in the evenings. Spotlights more just for visibility when you're actually doing stuff, if that makes sense. It's almost like 2 ways to light. Also in the kitchen we're going to have lights running under all the cabinets, so that would be nice. Wall lights, we're not too sure. We've put plenty of sockets in, so we might just do floor lights, floor lamps. So we'll see with that. But yeah, we need to start coming up with a plan for all the rooms and upstairs as well. So with all those purchases, day 19 came to £383. And that is all prep work. As I said, you end up front loading a lot of this stuff. We bought a 100-metre roll of twin and earth for the lighting. That's going to last us, for the whole project, hopefully. And for all next week, hopefully the costs are lower. Now, I know next week this is going to start to be tackled. We start to make good some areas, make good the chimney, various bits and bobs to do. The floor's also been made good here. Obviously, there was a wall there, so the brickwork went lower. And we battened against existing joists, put a new bit of flooring, bit of chipboard flooring. So that's where we're at. Another £383 has been spent, but it is starting to come together quite nicely. If I stand back here, you get a good idea of space and how much different it is with this wall opened up. I believe it's 2.8 meter span. I can't remember exactly, but that's where we're at. I will see you in the next video for another update. You can see how much more we've spent and how much more progress we've made.